be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory
All right, we've now just identified the hardest thing to follow up in the world. Those of you who don't know Helen Lamar from Providence Foundation, one of the 3 key partners on this project, and until 5 minutes ago, I did not know that was going to happen, and it's incredible. I think I would have asked to be way further down on the agenda. So welcome everybody. I feel a little silly welcoming folks, since so many of you are much more a part of this community than I am. But on behalf of Mercy and Providence Foundation and Michael Simmons, we're just unbelievably happy to be here. The 3 of us have worked organizationally with so many other folks that are going to be listed on this agenda and come up and speak. But there may not be a more community-based project or development or effort than I have been around. It's just amazing how many people are part of this. This does not really feel like anybody's particular effort, but just the effort of an entire community, and I think it's just an amazing feeling here today, and thank you very much, Helen, for kicking us all off. I also want to acknowledge, if I can I can't even clear my throat. Michael Simmons, I'm not going to sing, by the way, just in case any of you are going to ask. Michael may. Michael Simmons, I think between Michael Simmons and Providence, this project, these 2 are the folks that are really the most responsible for this. Mercy, we were incredibly happy to be invited to join, and are really just honored to be here and working with you all. So we have a bit of a long program today because, as I said, there are so many wonderful folks involved in this. Different people thanking folks along the way. So I'm going to keep my remarks a little bit brief at the moment, and I'll be back to thank folks in a little bit. But I do want to just start by thanking or introducing our district supervisor. She's been an unbelievable champion of affordable housing and homeless issues. And I give to you Supervisor Malia Cohen.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I, too, will not be singing. But, when I was speaking with Doug earlier, when I first came in, he said something that I just wanted to echo. He said, it feels like a family reunion. And when you look out, you see all of your different family partners. You see you've got your clergy, you've got the spiritual community, you've got the service providers, you've got local government, the city and county of San Francisco, you've got residents, this is an awesome mix of something that's very exciting. And so I just want to thank everyone for being here today, because today's a really important day. Today, this district is going through so many different changes that it's mind-numbing on how quickly things are changing. And I think it's always important to know that not all change is bad change. And it's also important to recognize those partners that have helped bring us together to help uplift those that have the least among us. And it's been an exciting year, because what we're doing today is we're opening up earlier this year, we opened up units up on Hunters View. So what that says is that there's a commitment from the city to pay attention to those that we have traditionally kind of left on the sideline and have passed them by. We've begun construction on phase 2 up on Hunters View, 0 displacement. We have local hire in place. Everyone is having an opportunity. You want to have a unit, you want to remain in place, you still have that capability as we rebuild public housing. And as we continue to have this discussion about affordable and making sure that San Francisco is affordable for our families, well, I want to also give voice and acknowledge the Slage Lock project that's a little south to where we are today, but that's also an incredible project of a little over 1,600 units that is also slated for families and affordable price point. And later this year, we're going to be breaking ground on Alice Griffith. I mean, this is pretty exciting. There is no other transformation that's happening, and this is how we begin to transform our community from a place, for quite frankly, of neglect to a place of opportunity and moving forward. Now, these 72 units that we are coming today to celebrate are going to be homes to families who have been formerly homeless, and more importantly, our very fragile transitional age youth. And these are key components to our affordable housing strategy, and that these are the efforts that the city is doing and taking forward to make sure that all of our residents have an opportunity to remain here. You know, just a few nights ago, we passed an $8.6 billion, with a B, dollar city budget. $8.6 billion. And, you know, my colleagues and I, we were there very late and to finalize the budget, but we worked hard to ensure that the budget reflected our priorities. And in this effort, I'm very excited and proud to say that we've increased the city's funding for housing and support services. And this is important because these are support services to prevent people who are in danger of becoming homeless. And we have made a significant investment in housing and the services for transitional age youth. Now, those are children, young people that are between the ages of 18 and 24. Many of them were in group homes or in adoptive family situations. When they hit 18, the system generally drops them. We need to begin to provide housing to help them transition into adulthood so that they can stabilize their life and continue down the path for success, and ensuring that this population is not falling through the cracks. So I want to thank the project sponsors for this beautiful new addition to our neighborhood, Mercy Housing, and a special shout out to the Providence Foundation, as well as all of the architects and designers and resident service coordinators who have made this day possible. I think this is a shining example of what happens when you come together and we have thoughtful planning and we have community engagement. And let it be known that this is not a community that doesn't take care of its own. This is a family. The Bayview community has always been a family. We've got generations of people that have grown up here and want to remain here, and this is an example of people who want to be, this building is an edifice for an example of people who want to be here, can remain here. And that is also said for the development that's happening on Jamestown and Alice Griffith, the George C. Davis Senior Public Housing. I mean, this is incredible. And for anyone that's in the audience that can hear my voice today that is interested in home ownership or renting some of these new units that are coming online, please come down and visit the San Francisco Housing Development Corporation. 2 days ago, we kicked off a financial empowerment center. This center is going to help you get fiscally healthy, help you get your finances in order so that everyone has an opportunity to capitalize and live in the community and remain here should you choose. So with that said, I'm going to get off the mic. Thank you. My name is Malia Cohen. It is a pleasure to serve you, and it's a pleasure to serve the city and county of San Francisco. Thank you.
So now I'm going to go back to the order the agenda should have been in. I got so flustered by Helen's song that I forgot to introduce her as a speaker. So, Helen Lamar, Executive Director of Providence Foundation.
Good morning again, and thank you all so much for coming to this dedication ceremony for the Bayview Hill Gardens. Providence Foundation is honored to be a part of this momentous occasion. Our mission is to improve the quality of life in low-income communities and to empower individuals to become self-reliant by providing programs, services, education, and training utilizing a comprehensive approach. We have done this with a passion and with focus. Bayview Hill Gardens is a wonderful example of our mission in action and a much-needed addition to this community. It is the first and only housing development for homeless families in the Bayview. You may be wondering why the effort to reduce homelessness is so important to us. The answer is very simple. It is the human thing to do. Helping someone in need helps us all, and it is a powerful motivator. Bayview Hill Gardens is a beacon of hope. Hope that we can continue to reduce the homeless population in the Bayview so that this community is no longer the second highest rate of homelessness in San Francisco. Hope that success of the residents of Bayview Hill Gardens spurs others to action in similar endeavors. Hope that one day homelessness will just be a memory for this community. Bayview Hill Gardens is more than housing. It offers supportive services for residents, such as case management, clinical services, benefits advocacy, assistance referrals, mediation with property management, conflict resolution, and support groups. It makes residents true stakeholders in the growth and development of their new home by providing them with learning and living opportunities, such as contributing to the expansion of the urban garden, access to a computer lab, participation in the planning of community events in their community room. We also provide them with healthy and green practices to sustain the environment. We feed 50 families every Thursday from the food pantry, and individuals in this facility have access to all of our resources so that they can achieve their full potential. We're already seeing our residents succeed and make positive choices. One resident just graduated from City College of San Francisco and gave the commencement address. A young mother of 3 has found employment. Her children are now enrolled in the Boys and Girls Club for the summer, and she is relaxed to know that her children are in a safe and healthy environment. The Providence Foundation is so grateful to Michael Simmons for listening to our dream, to Mercy Housing Incorporated for partnering with us in this endeavor, to David Baker Architects for designing such a unique building, to Cahill Contractors for continuing to construct affordable housing with quality and integrity, to Calvin Jones Jr., pastor of Providence Baptist Church, and Father Galowski of the St. Paul of the Shipwreck Church. Both of these phenomenal men were very active in making the building happen, and we thank them for their spiritual support and guidance. We also thank the Bayview Hill community for believing we could beautify the neighborhood, and to the City and County of San Francisco for believing that Providence Foundation has the ability to meet the challenge of providing housing and services to the homeless population that we have served in our shelters. We know that this is just the first chapter in the book of our dreams. Thank you.
Hey, all right. Woo.
And now, in the absence of our pastor, Calvin Jones Jr., I would like to bring to the podium Minister Timothy E. Gray, who will open and bless this building.
Shall we pray? Eternal God, our Father, we thank you and we praise you for who you are, God. We thank you for this day. We thank you for this building, God. You said in your word that except the Lord build a house, they that labor, labor in vain. So God, we thank you for all good and perfect gifts come from you. Lord, we thank you for the families that this building will serve, for all the hard work and dedication of each partner that participated in the building. And God, most of all, we thank you for your love, knowing that you want what is good, what is blessed, and what is perfect for each and every one of us. We love you and we praise you. It's in the name of Christ that we pray. Amen.
Okay, I think we're back on track. There are just so many people to thank. I do want to call out Patricia Doyle and Tiffany Davis from Providence Foundation, who were really instrumental in making this happen and making it such a success. Helen already started to mention, but I just want to, for those of you who are not familiar with either David Baker or Cahill Contractors, you've probably never been to an affordable housing building in San Francisco because they seem to have done all of them. I want to thank David Baker and Amit Price Patel in particular. This is a lovely building, and special thanks to you for all the work that you've done to make it happen. I also want to acknowledge Peter McKenzie's family that has joined us today. As for those of you that know, Peter was the lead designer for this project, and a lot of this building represents what he put into it. So a thank you to Peter in memoriam. These buildings get built by people, and I know that's a little obvious, but just had to say it. And while we can't acknowledge everyone who is involved in building it, I do want to call out a number of folks from Cahill Contractors: Chuck Pally, Blair Allison, I'm going to blow this name, Leadron Koo, Monique Lee, and their on-site construction team of Lily, Alex, and Steph Lind. Okay, I also want to thank, but we already acknowledged Michael also, but DeWitt Brock from MSDI did a wonderful job on this project. All right, I'm going to stop. I'm going to come back. I'm going to pace you on this. These buildings, San Francisco has a unique record. If you go around the state, and in fact, you go around the country and you ask folks about sort of why San Francisco is such a special place for affordable housing. We're one of the most unaffordable places in the world. And yet at the same time, we probably have more public support for affordable housing and supportive housing than virtually any place in the country. A lot of that has to do with the special history of the redevelopment agency here in this city and the Mayor's Office of Housing. This project was funded by the artist formerly known as the Redevelopment Agency, now known as the Office of Community Investment and Infrastructure. Tiffany Bohe is here today, the executive director, and Christine Johnson, who is the commission chair, is going to come up and say a few words.
Good morning, everybody. Just like before, I can't really welcome everyone to Bayview Hill Gardens because most of you are more connected to the community than I am, although I have been doing community work via the Hunters Point CAC and now the successor agency for a while. But I'm proud to represent the Office of Community Investment and Infrastructure, now known as the successor agency to the former redevelopment agency of the city and county in San Francisco. That is a mouthful I still haven't gotten used to. It's been 2 years. Even though we're no longer the redevelopment agency, we continue to work on building affordable housing and economic opportunity for the communities that we serve. This project, hold on, I'm a little tall for this. I hope you guys can hear me. I feel like I'm bending over. All right, we'll do that. This project represents our commitment to providing sustainable, supportive housing and programs that help San Francisco residents grow and thrive in this city. In particular, we're serving formerly homeless residents through this project. And just like the Rene Casanave apartments in Trans Bay and a forthcoming project in Mission Bay, it's the human thing to do. We need to provide services for those who are most in need in order to be able to provide services for the rest and have a growing and thriving city. This project will serve formerly homeless families and transition-aged youth, and I won't revisit a lot of Supervisor Cohen's words because she said it best, but those are the ones that are most in need. We need families not on the street, and we need transition-aged youth to be able to grow into adulthood in a way that would allow them to contribute to their communities in the future. Bayview Hill Gardens will be a project that will maximize residents' potential for success via supportive housing and also the supportive services and also access to transit. You know, how are you going to get to that job that eventually you're going to be able to have if you're not able to get there? And the T-line is right outside the door. So that represents our goal that transit-oriented development helps grow communities. So I want to get into a few of the numbers about this project. I'll be brief. I know we have a pretty long program today. The successor agency, or OCII as we're now known, provided approximately 30% of the permanent financing for this project. 65 of the 72 units that are around you today were supported through funding from OCII that was set aside from SB 2113 dollars. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's the fancy legislative term for the funding that we need to provide for our replacement housing obligation. And I should note that some of the residents here were certificate of preference holders, people who were given certificates when they were displaced by the former redevelopment agency. So that is a coup for that program, and we'll continue to look for successes there. The successor agency is also deeply committed to providing contract opportunities for small businesses and jobs for local residents. This project was developed with 56% small business participation, and 42% of the total hours were worked by San Francisco residents, 16% right here from Bayview Hunters Point. So that is a point of pride and percentages that we hope to get to in all of our projects. I'm personally excited to tour this beautiful facility, and before I get off stage, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the hard work of all of the current and former redevelopment agency / OCII and city staff who have worked tirelessly to make this project a success. And I'd also like to thank the residents of Bayview Hunters Point for supporting this development and integrating this new mini community into the larger neighborhood. Thank you very much.
This must be the longest list of thank yous I've ever seen, actually, because there's so many folks involved with it. I just want to give a call out to a couple people in specific from the OCII, in particular Kate Hartley and Vanessa Dandridge. I don't know if they're here, but both of them worked on this project. Next up is Trent Rohr from the Human Services Agency. For folks that don't know, one of the reasons why San Francisco is sort of able to do so much more than other communities around the country is very early on, the Human Services Agency, the Department of Public Health, the Mayor's Office of Housing, and OCII, then the Redevelopment Agency. That is really hard to do all the time. Anyway, I just commiserating. Established something that is really unique in the country, which is a shared decision-making process around how to fund housing and where to put investments. Trent was a key part of that and is a big reason why our supportive housing program in San Francisco, despite all of the challenges we face, is really among the envy of the country. So Trent Rohr.
Hi, everyone. It is so nice to be here. I want to see a show of hands of those of you who remember what used to be here. So it was probably about 13 years ago, maybe 14 years ago, I was fresh in my position that I'm in now. That's a long time. And I came out to what was then the Franciscan Motel with George Smith, who was the Mayor Brown's, head of his office on homelessness then. And the reason I came out is because one of my staff who are here, and I'm going to recognize them in a second, said we give vouchers to homeless families to go to hotels and motels. And I said, okay, well, I want to see where we're sending them. And I came out here, and I was appalled. And that day, I said, we are no longer using city money to give vouchers to families to live in this place. And I see a lot of nodding heads. I didn't dream that we'd have this replace it. but we did. And so I'm just so, well, surprised I'm still in my job 14 years later, but so happy that this is what came of us saying no longer are we putting families and kids in this place. And we owe that to our families, whether they're homeless, whether they're low income, that we are going to treat them with dignity, we're going to treat them with respect, and we're going to create spaces like this for them. Amen. I do want to, so I get to now recognize my staff because I have the mic. The Human Services Agency is the service piece to supportive housing. Supportive housing is affordable housing, and it's housing with services. And we're fortunate enough to be able to fund the services in this building. We have fantastic partners. She's a singer and a service provider, Helen Lamar, who's been with us on a lot of projects, but just continue the fantastic partnership. So I want to recognize Providence and Helen. And I also want to recognize the new partner, really, with the Human Services Agency, and that's the Bayview Hunters Point Foundation, and Jacob Moody's here as well. So guys, thank you. And of course, we were at an event yesterday recognizing the 10-year anniversary of our 10-year plan to end homelessness that we commissioned 10 years ago. And we were at a site that's under construction, and the partner there is Mercy Housing. And I get to see Mercy Housing again today because they're our partner on this project. So definitely recognize Doug and his team at Mercy. And now the folks on my staff and the tenants in this building would not be here without their tireless work. And they get to stand up. And that's Joyce Crum and Cindy Ward. Stay standing, please. And she said this is her baby, Brianna Moore. You guys are awesome. You never get enough credit. So you get credit today because it's due. Thank you, guys. So I said yesterday we recognized the 10-year anniversary of a plan. It was a very bold and audacious plan that we crafted 10 years ago to say we want to end chronic homelessness in San Francisco. We haven't ended chronic homelessness in San Francisco, but what we did do, and we said in the plan we were going to do, is develop 3,000 units of permanent supportive housing in San Francisco. And that was 10 years ago. And right now, we're at 2,700. With another, yeah, that's worth it, absolutely. With another over 400 in the pipeline. So we're going to hit that 3,000, not in 10 years, but in probably 11 and a half years. At that same time, we've placed over 11,000 homeless families and individuals in housing, 11,000 in 10 years. So when I get asked, and I get asked this a lot, and for those of you who don't know, I was Mayor Newsom's point person on homelessness for a number of years, early in his administration. So I get asked, you haven't solved homelessness. Is that frustrating? Or why haven't you solved homelessness? And my response is, we may not have solved homelessness at a systemic level. We still have families and adults struggling on the street and struggling in our shelters and in their vehicles. But we do know how to solve homelessness at the individual and the family level. And we have solved homelessness at the individual and family level for over 11,000 people. So ignore the negative press and the negative comments like San Francisco doesn't know how to solve homelessness. We do, and we have with buildings like this in supportive housing. The reason we do supportive housing, and this word was used I think 3 times already, because it's humane. This is the humane way to solve homelessness. It's not through shelters. It's not through sending them out of town and giving them to someone else to deal with. It's this. So it's humane, but the other thing, and a lot of people who aren't in the weeds on this don't know this, it's the most cost effective. It is the same cost in public sector dollars to house someone in something in a beautiful place like this with services on site as it is if that family or single adult is in shelter or on the street. Because when they're on the street, they're using crisis services, emergency rooms, EMS, mental health crisis. When we get them in housing, they're stabilized, they're healthier, and they get to make progress towards improving their lives. It's the fiscally responsible thing to do, and by far the most humane approach. And I'm so proud that I'm able to partner with great agencies like Providence and Bayview Hunters Point Foundation and Mercy and my fabulous team to see this and make it a reality. Before I close, I do want to recognize, many of you don't know this either, the longest standing city commissioner, Commissioner George Yamasaki of the Human Services Commission. George, thank you for being here, sitting in the front row. Because we couldn't do this without the Human Services Commission's steadfast support, both at the policy level and funding of projects like this. So Thank you very much for having me and inviting me to speak. Thank you, partners, for making this such a great project. Congratulations to everyone.
Thanks, Trent. We want to thank the Human Services Agency staff as well, incredible partners for us. Just over the years, so many things that we've done together, and we appreciate all the friendship and the collegiality and professionalism that you all bring to this. I also want to note Ann Romero, and I don't know if Marv Rance is here from the Mayor's Office of Housing, have also been heavily involved with this. Ann's hiding back there. You know, before we get too much further into the agenda, I always forget to thank the Mercy staff. That's one of my problems as a public speaker, aside from not following the schedule. And it really starts with Sheila Jeevan. For those of you that don't know, this has been Sheila's labor of love. She deserves probably more credit than anybody else on this project. I just want to note that in her notes to me on who to thank, she's like 13th down behind like a semicolon. So I had to find her on this list. If you're wondering who all the people around you are, chances are they're Mercy staff. So if I could just ask for a second if the Mercy staff could stand up. I want to thank a few people in particular, Judy Shepard Hall, but stand up, Mercy, if you're not in the back. Rachel Frederick, VJ. Our on-site staff is unbelievable. Donna Liao, Stephanie Andrew, Fidel Casares, Yuling Deng, and Stephanie Morgan, who's our on-site resident services folks. And then any project like this, there's just so many people that touch it on our staff: Lorena Naral, Barbara Gualco, Ilea Lavora, Lauren Maddock, Kareem Sultan, Mauricio Feliz, Daniel Wade, Julia Gualco Nelson, and Jackie Hoffman, and Kim Ness. So a big thank you to all of them. Not because it follows from this, but just because I saw Audrey back there, I just want to acknowledge that we have a fabulous partner for us here in the community gardening work. For those of you who don't know Urban Sprouts, they're just a fantastic nonprofit that does work on leadership and gardening. And Audrey's in the back, and she does incredible work all around the city and with the Human Services Agency and others. And with that, I want to bring up another fabulous partner who many of you know way better than me, which is too bad for me, but I'm looking forward to getting to know Jacob even more. A fabulous partner from the Bayview Hunters Point Foundation, Jacob Moody.
Good morning. Oh, what can I say? Helen is inspirational. What, suddenly. Residents of Bayview Hill Gardens, all here from Mercy Housing and its various entities, and the Providence Foundation, co-owners of this property, and all staff and distinguished visitors, I wish you peace and joy here in your new home. The Bayview Hunters Point Foundation is honored to be part of this enterprise. For over 43 years, the foundation has sought to build a community that is empowered, clean, safe, and healthy. Our service here is a furtherance of this mission, and one that we embrace with pride and humility. We are so fortunate to be partnered with such accomplished organizations as Mercy Housing and Providence Foundation, who share with us this commitment to building homes and supporting people. I'd like to ask our two staff here, Donisha and Marion, to please stand. They're kind of in the sun shade. It's warmer back there in the sun, isn't it? They have been here working with the residents, and we are so proud of the work that they are doing. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "The hope of a secure and livable world lies with disciplined nonconformists who are dedicated to justice, peace, and brotherhood." I resonate with both the spirit and the intent of his comment. In a prevailing culture of "I've got mine, you get yours," where all too often the humanity that each of us share in is denigrated by the machines of greed, power, and thoughtlessness, being a nonconformist to its beckoning call is essential for dedication to justice, peace, and brotherhood. Dr. King's comments were directed at the larger world, but each of us knows that it is in our smaller worlds, our families, and our intimate community where we have the most important opportunity to be disciplined in our life and work and nonconformists to the human failings of anger, hatred, selfishness, and combativeness. Here in this place, individuals and families are supported, strengthened, and grow in wisdom and love. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't contend with each other at times. We are human beings, after all. But here, we do not need to let that contending be the last word. Being here means that we do not forego the opportunity to point out injustice and to fight for what is threatening the peace of our world. But what living in this community means is that no single person, no single point of view, no single strategy is correct in and of itself. Here we create community. To create a secure and livable world, small or large, requires us to listen, observe, weigh up, decide, and act in consort with those with whom we are interdependent. It is in this place of sanctuary where the grip of the prevailing culture, old culture, myopic culture, give way, and we build a new and more humane existence, one with the other. How fortunate for all of us to be engaged in this enterprise. How blessed we are to be with each other as we nurture ourselves, our souls, and bodies to be a living example of justice, peace, brother, and sisterhood. In this place, this home you are creating, the seeds of true human connection will germinate, grow, and blossom in your homes and in this community, and become a marvelous garden for all to behold. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacob. Those are wonderful comments. Susan, I'm sorry that you have to follow Jacob. Not because of the song, which was also wonderful, but those are really inspirational words. I have on my list here some wonderful people. Denisha Anderson, Marion Lopez, Aaron Zielinski, and Debbie Burrell at Bayview Hunters Point Foundation. Thank them as well. So many of you may not know Susan Riggs. I've had the benefit of knowing her for a number of years. Susan has been a real advocate in the affordable housing movement. She really led the community in San Diego for many years and has just recently become the Deputy Secretary for Housing Policy, Business, Consumer Services, and Housing Agency at the state of California. Please welcome Susan Riggs.
My title is also a mouthful. It's the Business, Consumer Services, and Housing Agency of the state of California. I work for the governor, and we oversee the Department of Housing and Community Development that is a proud partner in this development. On behalf of the administration, I'm really just here to congratulate all the partners, Mercy, Providence, all the partners, the team that helped to bring this project to fruition, and especially the community members that I know are really excited about the change that they're seeing in their community for the better. the Department of Housing and Community Development invested $10 million of supportive housing funds in this development. And I say invest, I use specifically the term invest because it is an investment. It's an investment in the families who are living here, giving them a second chance to rebuild their lives in a supportive housing environment where they can invest in themselves. I had an opportunity before the program started to speak to the youth services coordinator, Tiffany, and she told me that she's working with 115 youth here on site. It's an investment in those young lives to make sure that they have a chance, that they're not living on the streets or going to end up on the streets eventually, but they can begin to think about their future. They can think about college. They can think about, you know, what they want to do with their lives and not worry about where their next meal is going to come from or where they're going to lay their head at night. It's also an investment, obviously, in this community. You know, on this very sunny, beautiful San Francisco day, I think about, you know, kind of the symbolism behind the sunshine. I mean, this is really a transformational, you know, development in this community, really adding sunlight to a community that has had a lot of struggles. And so, you know, turning, you know, I guess I'm fortunate not to have seen what it was before, but, you know, from what has been described, you know, it has really been transformational and has added sunlight to a community that really is in need of something good and powerful to be symbolic of the transformation in the community. So I think with that, I'll close, and I thank you very much for having me today. And again, on behalf of the administration and Governor Brown, congratulations.
So if you missed it, the really great news is there's now another $100 million available at the state level to help build more buildings like this, which is a really wonderful thing coming out of the state. It's been a bleak few years in terms of state funding for affordable housing, but hopefully we've turned the corner and we're headed in a new direction. For those of you who have been to these things, I always take a moment to just acknowledge that you sometimes wonder where all your taxpayer dollars go and where this program goes. This building has so many different forms of public support, from the local operating support program to the state funds that we've mentioned. We also have private support from the Federal Home Loan Bank, their affordable housing program. We have lenders. We have a tax, well, that's not public funding, but we have low-income housing tax credits on this property, which are a unique program of the IRS and the Department of Treasury that is used to build almost all of the affordable housing in the country. Raymond James is our investor on this project. They couldn't be here. And then we really rely heavily on banking partners. And we've been lucky over the years. We've had a really strong partnership over the years with Citi. And I'm very excited. I got to get the name of Citi. I always get the Citi Community Capital. There are variations on Citi. You got to get the right part of Citi. So with that, I want to welcome Brian Barker, who's the director of Citi Community Capital, a huge partner for Mercy Housing. Thank you.
Good morning. As Doug mentioned, I work for Citi Community Capital. We are the community lending and development arm of Citibank, and we've been a huge partner of Mercy's over the years. And also, we've done many transactions in the Bayview and the Third Point corridor, and it is just amazing to see the transformation. One of the earlier speakers asked if people remembered what was here before. I think it was you. I do remember what was here, and to come here today and see what's transformed is it's truly amazing. And we're also lucky enough to take a tour of the property before this, and the finished product is absolutely outstanding. So we are very glad to be here today and celebrate with Mercy and the Providence Foundation, and congratulations on an absolutely outstanding project. Thank you.
Okay, believe it or not, we're very far into the agenda at this point. A couple people that I forgot to thank earlier. I saw her in the back, Amy Bailey from Mercy Housing, who many of you know. And also the Mercy folks that put together this event. I want to thank Rick Sprague and Jessica and Mary Kelly, who all helped staff and put together this wonderful event. So one of the downsides of working as the president of Mercy Housing is that I really don't get to see as much of sort of how much this impacts people's lives as you do when you're a little bit closer to the work. So for me, these events, small a window as they are, they're really quite incredible to really understand some of the impact that these properties and this work has. I had a chance to just very briefly meet Maurice Hightower and his lovely daughter, Imani, and Maurice is going to come up and share a few words with us. So thank you, Maurice. And we're not sure. We think Imani's coming, but we're not sure. She's getting rid of her gum. All right. If that's not parenting, I don't know what is.
Can I borrow a chair? That's a little better. Okay. Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Maurice Hightower. This is my daughter, Imani Hightower. Say hi, baby.
Hi.
Okay, cool. There we go. Okay. Thank you. Okay. I guess I could start just by saying where I live. So I live in beautiful Bayview Hill Gardens. Unit 106, right down here on the first floor. I get access to the garden. I also work for the after-school program, educational tutor. So, I work. Sorry, I'm sorry. I like cameras. I'm sorry. But yeah. So I work with Tiffany Davis, two Tiffanys, Stephanie, Danisha, everybody. Hi, everybody. I'd like to say hi. I'm Miss Pat. I met a few people. Helen. Sorry, a lot of people, a lot of names, but hi, everybody. We work on the gardens. You can see, I'm not sure if everybody got a chance to see it. We planted strawberries, raspberries, sunflowers, basil, tomatoes, green onions, kale. People like kale. And a whole bunch of other stuff there. So it's all sprouting very nicely. The kids come down. They actually have access to it. They can learn different types of ways they want to get their green thumb working. So we have the irrigation system, which is dug down into it. We have, right now all the kids are going to the Boys and Girls Club. All the kids are going to the Boys and Girls Club. I'm sorry. All the kids are going into the Boys and Girls Club, which is up on Kiska Road, the Willie Mays Boys and Girls Club. So they're actually not here right now to celebrate with all of us, so we'll be back later. They come here after school. They come and we give them healthy snacks. They need help with homework, whether it be math, reading, writing, whatever they do need help with. We have access to that. They go inside there. We have computers which are donated to us. They have a program which is called EPGY, so they actually go inside there, because now inside the school system, my daughter, she's going to 3rd grade. When I was younger, they had STAR tests, which would be done on paper with a pencil. We're getting rid of all that because trees, paper, all that has to be cut down. It's not so good for the environment for us as human beings in general. So everything's getting moved to computers. So now students have to actually know how to input information onto the computer, have to learn how to break down a math problem, actually explain to somebody else how they got to that answer, rather than just saying 2 + 2 is 2 because I was told so. So that's good too. They're working on that. What else do I have to say here? I'm following some great speeches here. There's a gentleman, Trent. I don't know where he went. There, hey, he's right here. All right, Trent, how's it going? And also Jacob here. I loved these 2 speeches. The question came up, how can we end homelessness? And I feel like if to somebody really ask that question, it's something that doesn't have an answer. It's like, how do you end anger? How do you end, it doesn't have an answer that you can just come up with, because it's something that's continuously going on. As long as there's going to be humans, as long as there's going to be any living being inside this world, there's going to be times when people don't have a stable place to stay. And, the only way I can feel that you can't end it, but you can work towards, making it easier or better for people when they do reach these certain times in their life, so they don't have a place, they don't have food, they don't have stability. And it's not only just the people who have money that have to come help out. Thank you very much, of course. But it's also the people who are going through this problem. They have to wake up, they have to persevere, they have to have determination, they have to want something. Because there are going to be people throughout your whole life who are going to tell you that you can't do something, you can't do this. But if you listen to them, then you'll never have. And if you don't have, then your children won't have. Your grandchildren will have. It'll just continue on down the path, generations. And and what else do I have to say? I'm sorry, I don't want to go into a long speech, but what else? I'm thinking I should have wrote something down. I was told that the president takes notes. Hopefully the president isn't mad at me for not doing my part, but we'll try to make it work. I have a lot of stuff going in my head. I guess I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming down here. Thank you for, allowing me to introduce myself to a lot of people. Thank you for telling my daughter she looks beautiful. Thank you for telling me I look handsome at times. Yeah, if you guys ever, need somebody to talk to, I'm not the best person, but I am an open ear. I only have one good ear nowadays, but it's always there for people. And, I'm sorry, I want to say one more thing. I'm sorry, I'm jumping back in. So, homelessness again. I can give an example. So, 2 nights ago, I was going downtown and, I'm taking my daughter. We're down there kind of late night, and how the city changes once the sun goes down. We hopped off of the T. The T is right outside, so we had access straight to downtown. And I believe we got off on Powell Street, or either we were leaving downtown or we were coming into downtown. Either way, we were downtown. And there are people living out on the streets, right inside of the underground station where you would actually have access to BART and to Mini Underground. And you have to walk past these people. And, it's not a good sight. And you have to explain to your children, you have to explain to yourself, you have to try to come up with some answer inside your head that justifies why these people are living on the streets, why they're sleeping on the side of people while they walk past, and they're ignored. Because that's another thing that goes along with homelessness too. It's not just the physical aspect of it, it's the it's a communication that doesn't exist between people who aren't homeless and people who are. They're normally just ignored. There's a book called The Invisible Man I read back in high school. They become invisible to a certain extent. People tend to ignore them and they cease to exist, even though they're physically still there. And they have all the needs that everybody else needs inside this world, but they're not seen as having those things. And it's something hard that you have to see, something hard that you have to explain, something hard that you have to go home and cope with and deal with and try to ignore to get on with your life. And I just finished reading a book, I'm trying to think, which book was it? Either it was Friedrich Nietzsche or I believe it was Friedrich Nietzsche. And he speaks about quality versus quantity of humankind. And that's something that you really have to think about. It's like, we can continue to reproduce and take over this world like a bunch of swarming ants and eventually go like into the movies, into the stars, but if we can't take over our own kind, if we can't take care of every living thing that this earth has to offer, because we come from this earth and eventually we all will go back to this. So, it's just, we don't want to give up. We don't want to leave this planet destroyed and, just decayed to the people and the things that come after us. So, just work hard. You see somebody in the street, say hi to them, give them a high five if you can, if you have some spare change. Hey, no matter what you feel like the person's going to spend it on, once it leaves your hands, it's considered a gift. So don't be ashamed. Don't think negative of people because you don't know what they're going through. And I'm not sure if this saying still goes on right now, but everybody is one paycheck away from being on the streets. But yeah, so love one another. I've always grown up with the one saying, treat people say you want to be treated. And I try to do the exact same now. And hopefully, I'll grow old and I'll pass away teaching that to myself and fellow people that I meet. So thanks again for listening to me. Have a great day. Thank you. Say bye, baby. Want to say bye?
Bye.
Okay, there we go.
Thanks, Maurice. Okay, thanks very much. We actually just have a couple more speakers. Latonia Williams is another resident who's joining us to share her story. Latonia?
Hello, everyone. As Mr. Shoemaker said, my name is Latonia Williams, and I'm honored to say that I'm a resident here at Bayview Hill Gardens. In order for me to effectively convey what Bayview Hill Gardens means to myself and my family, I must first share a brief glimpse into my history. For 20 years, I was paralyzed by an addiction to crack and heroin that sought to steal my life, kill my spirit, and destroy my hopes of having a productive life. As a result, I became an absentee parent, in and out of jail, contracted a life-threatening illness, and suffered multiple years of homelessness. I have resigned myself to the fact that I would die a hopeless dope fiend. But by the grace of a loving God, like the proverbial phoenix, I was blessed enough to rise out of the ashes of addiction, and to date, I have 6 years clean and sober. In short, Today, I am a dopeless hope fiend. Certainly, my struggles are not unique, but what I am is yet another powerful testament to the human spirit's capacity to overcome such adversities when giving the right amount of support. It is my belief that every good and perfect gift comes from God, and that is where Bayview Hill Garden comes in. Prior to moving in, I had spent 2.5 years in drug and alcohol treatment and 2 years and 10 months in transitional housing, which legally deemed me homeless. And that's not including the time I spent in abandoned apartments and living in cars. So simply put, Bayview Hills Garden has given me and my family a space to call home. But what exactly is a home? I'm glad y'all asked. For me, home is where my family will continue to pick up the fragmented pieces of our past until they are pieced back together, allowing us to continue to plan for our future. Home is where my family is able to find some sense of comfort and peace when the only thing that society has to offer is uncertainty. Home is where we are given stability. It is my belief that it is not a coincidence that my years of homelessness came to an end right here at Bayview Hill Gardens. I say this because, as we all know, this very location was known as the Franciscan Hotel. If I may speak frankly, the Franciscan Hotel was a breeding ground for violence, illicit drug use, prostitution, and other forms of illegal activity that plagued the residents of the Bayview community for years. And if I may be even more candid, I was a part of that activity prior to seeking recovery. God don't make no mistakes. And I know that he brought me full circle back to this location for a purpose. More will be revealed. The stability that I was given as a result of receiving permanent housing has allowed me to complete a milestone in my life that I took for granted for many years: education. On May 23, 2014, not only did I graduate City College with highest honors, but I also graduated top of my class as valedictorian for the largest graduating class in City College's history. As I continue to grow, because of the foundation I have here at Bayview Hill Gardens, I do not have to ponder about what my future holds. In August, I will be transitioning to San Francisco State University as a junior majoring in social work. Thousands upon thousands of individuals vie for a spot in their highly coveted Bachelor of Arts social work program every fall, but only 25 are selected. I am humbled to say that I am one of the 25. In all honesty, at heart, I am already a social worker because of my life experiences, community, volunteer, and extracurricular activities. Therefore, at this point, earning a degree is just a formality. As I work towards earning my degree, much like those here at Bayview Hill Gardens, I will continue to trailblaze the path for others who have walked a similar arduous journey as me, and in turn, allow them to reap a bountiful harvest because of the seeds that I have planted. To this end, it is no secret that one of the most monumental issues that our society is confronted with is homelessness. Homelessness has thrust too many individuals onto the sidelines and in turn keeps them from realizing their full potential and robbing society of yet another productive member of society. Under the umbrella of Mercy Housing, Bayview Hill Garden has managed to combine permanent housing with a synchronized pipeline of supportive services, which is vital to improving the lives of those who have experienced bouts of homelessness. Mercy Housing mission statement: to create stable, vibrant, and healthy communities by developing, financing, and operating affordable, program-enriched housing for families, seniors, and people with special needs who lack the economic resources to access quality, safe housing opportunity stands on its own. But it is the people with special needs that particularly stands out for me. Reason being, there are various factors that led to the residents of Bayview Hill Gardens becoming homeless in the first place, such as financial crisis, substance abuse, mental health issues, or even domestic violence. But just because we now have permanent housing does not mean that the ill effects of such traumatic experiences dissipate. I tip my hat to Bayview Hill Gardens for not only recognizing those needs, but also structuring their supportive services around filling the voids that we are left with as a result of our trauma narratives. Also, coming from a population that is stigmatized because of our individual circumstances and situations that led us to becoming homeless, oftentimes we are not given a voice, or when we raise our voices, we are not heard. Part of the process here at Bayview Hill Gardens is not only advocacy for its residents, but is also allowing us to have a voice of what kind of supportive services we would like to have, whether external or internal. This is huge because it empowers us to effectively go into any situation and advocate for our own needs. Each and every one of us here knows that homelessness is not just a problem for those who have or are suffering from homelessness. It is a societal problem. Even more importantly, we are confronted with an even greater problem. And that problem is that homelessness is becoming normalized, and society is further becoming desensitized to this growing issue. So while it is important for this marginalized population to continuously to be lifted up and encouraged, it is also equally important that those of us or you who are on the front lines or in the background fighting the good fight be equally commended for helping move thousands of individuals and families out of the category of homeless. Today, I lift up and encourage Mercy Housing, the staff here, Providence Foundation, Bayview Hunters Point Foundation, funders, donors, staff, city officials, volunteers, and anyone else who plays an integral part of creating, supporting, and maintaining Bayview Hill Gardens to continue to do what you do as individuals and as collectives. Please do not grow weary in doing good, because it is people like the residents here who are reaping the rewards of your well-doing. In fact, if no one has told you that your efforts do not go unnoticed, I just did. God bless you, and may He have favor on you because of your efforts, compassion, and generosity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Williams. Just a couple more people to acknowledge, and then we have our closer here. Well, two closers, really, Father Paul and the mayor. I want to acknowledge Bevan Dufty, Dee, and Christine Keener from HOPE, which is responsible for a lot of work around homelessness around San Francisco. One of Mercy Housing's board members, Miriam Saez, who's in the front row here. I promise, I don't think I really have anybody left. If I haven't thanked you and you're here, I apologize. I didn't get the notes about you. But without further ado, I do want to bring up the mayor to help bring us home. He has been an unbelievable force around economic justice, around homelessness, around affordable housing. And for those of us who have known him for any period of time, he's been around working on just about every issue you can think of in this city, from streets and roads to legal aid to there's probably no topic the mayor has not worked on at some point in his incredible career. So he's a huge friend of Mercy Housing, and I think to the Bayview community and all the rest of us. So with that, I bring you Mayor Lee.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Bayview. Supervisor Cohen, thank you. I'm not going to speak a whole lot. I'm into a mood of celebrating because this community has worked hard and earned our city's attention to make sure we do everything we can to make sure everybody is successful. And I want to say this, before I go and praise Mercy, let me spend a minute praising the people here in the Bayview, because this site, I know about this site. Muhammad just lives a few blocks down, and he always took me to this site. What can we do here? And when you look at the history of what entities have tried to do something with this place, this very site. It kind of reflects sometimes the lives of people who are homeless because they're trying to get their lives better. The community tried to do something with this site, and then they got hit smack in the face with the economic downturn in the economy. I want to say thank you first to the people who tried very hard and had other entities try to make something of this site, because I need to thank them because they set the pace so that Mercy can come in and really use their talent and their resources to help with the building of these 72 wonderful units. But I also want to say thank you to the community groups, the Bayview Hunters Point Foundation, the entities that started and couldn't get it done because their economics wasn't there and because the economics of the city wasn't there. It's all to say that everybody tries to get their lives better, and city government should be there to help them make sure they cross the finish line. I am proud to work with our agencies, our human services agencies, our health department agencies, our homeless czar, work in partnership with our nonprofits. Ultimately, too, I recognize as the mayor now in these very good days that we have, these very, perhaps sometimes precious days where the economy is looking good, where we can settle an $8.6 billion budget for 2 years, not going past 12:30 midnight too long, with the supervisors who are also on board with me about the need for building housing, affordable housing throughout the city. That we also utilize what now is perceived as one of the strongest economies in the country and fulfill the promises we made to this community over 25 years ago. This is what we get a chance to do. And so I just want to say to you, there's more work to be done. Mercy's got a lot more work that we get to do together, Sunnydale and all the other places, but let's celebrate today another milestone. I was there with them in Mission Bay yesterday on another 150 sites, 150 units, 50 of which are going to formerly homeless individuals and families and transitional age youth. We have another presentation here today of these 72 beautiful, beautiful units. Courtyard, you can call your own, a community, being part of the community. Not isolated because of your economics, not being thrust in places where people don't care about. Bayview is an incredible part of our city's economy right now, and we won't forget that. And all we need to do, Supervisor Malia Cohn, is return the economics back to this community as they deserve it, as they're raising themselves up. We get to do that. I will be very happy every time I'm down here opening up another housing site, making sure people feel it, they deserve it. I've got an aggressive 30,000 units of housing I need to build and rehab. With your help, we will get there by 2020, maybe even exceed that number. Because for me, it really is about everybody who wants to live in this city having a chance to do so. I know it's expensive. I know we're trying to make sure people don't get evicted from their homes. We're going to commit and we're going to do all of that. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we got to build more housing. We got to rehab more housing. We got to build on our strength. We got to make sure Hope SF really gets all of the developments done. And we need to make sure that each time we focus on the site, just like redevelopment did on this site, and now the OCII has done so, that we do our best to develop the site and bring opportunities for everyone. There's more sites in the Bayview that we could be doing. There's more partnerships that we can have. So I want to say thank you to Mercy. Incredible level of, I think, not only style for this, but also really an ongoing commitment to people who are in need of help. You're a great partner. We're going to continue working with you. But there's more work to be done. So I hope that you celebrate this, and then let's get on to the next project. There's more things to be built, more lives to be saved, more lives to be turned around. Thank you very much. Congratulations, everyone.
I think you got a bag, Mr. Mayor. This bag, I think, is worth several $1 million of investment. Yeah. Down payment? No, that's past payment. Past payment. All right, we're almost done. I just want to say, because the mayor reminded me, Mercy is really happy to be working with Michael Simmons and Providence on this, and unbelievable partnerships. We've been lucky and around the state been able to do a lot of this work. This actually represents, I think, along with 1184th Street, we now have 657 units of supportive housing in San Francisco alone that we are a part of, and that's an incredible experience for us, part of 1,300 units of supportive housing in the state, which is, again, testament to the real work that's been going on. There are just a couple more folks that I forgot to thank, and one of them I'm really happy. I didn't see Espanola hiding back there, and I knew that I'd get in trouble if I didn't acknowledge Espanola Jackson for her hard work on this and so many other things in this community over the years. Dr. Espanola Jackson. I came so close to getting it right. I was like this close. All right. This is a harder job than it looks. The Bayview Hill Neighborhood Association has also played an enormous role in sort of helping this development become part of the broader community. I also want to thank the folks from the Shelter Plus Care program who go out of their way to really make this work. Shane Balanon and Darlene Fernandez-Ash. And last but not least, we're going to bring up Father Paul, but as you take your tour today, you'll see art all around this development. And for those of you that don't know, this fabulous nonprofit, they're based in the Mission District, but they do work with developmentally disabled adults all over the city, and that's Creativity Explored. And as you walk through the building, you'll see just the incredible human capacity that each and every one of us has if we're only given the chance. So with that, I really promise this is it. Bring us home.
All right, I will be short, but just a quick testimony. I've heard the words amazing, teamwork, a great thing. I really believe that this development is a miracle. And my vision goes back around the time Trent Rohr was talking about 15 years ago when running the food pantry across the street of St. Paul the Shipwreck, families would come over that had gotten vouchers from Connecting Point to stay here. And they wanted to know if they could stay longer, so I called the city. And it might even have been you that I talked to, I'm not sure. And they said, that place is so dangerous, there's so much crime there, we're going to stop sending families because it's a bad example. What you need to do is rent out the whole property and get rid of the crime. And so SFOP was working in community organizing at the time. Neighbors like Beulah Brown, Renee, talk about the violence that was coming out of the motel. And so we got this idea, let's take over the motel. So we walked over and introduced the owner, ourselves to the owner, and started conversations with the owner. Many 14, 15 years of miracles. And LaTanya mentioned that this was a gift from God. For 72 families that live here, this is a gift from God. It's not only a gift that was given, it was a gift that was built and given. $33 million gift, which is nothing for God. Amen. And all God's workers. The city of San Francisco, the neighborhood people are tremendously loving and good and caring about one another. And I'm very honored to be a part of this community. Let's bless this home for 72 families. Like in the military, I think when they commission a destroyer or a ship or an aircraft carrier, a bottle of champagne gets busted against the hull. I brought holy water. And so let us commission or putting in the service of God, blessing this home for 72 families. Let us pray. Almighty God, we give you thanks for the miracle that has built this home. And we ask that it be commissioned for your service, that you protect and guide all the families that live here, that the children may know love, and that the parents may know your wisdom and support. We ask that you bless this home, keep it safe, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Make this holy ground. Amen.
Okay, we're really done, but there are tours if you would like to go on them, and I think I'm looking for some guidance. They're going to be leading from where, Stephanie? Right here. Follow Stephanie if you want to go on a tour.